Hey guys, Graves here, and I am just doing a catch-up video for you guys on what we read for this time. Now, I didn't try to participate in either one of these, but I got kind of rolled into the Lohali 30 for 30 and the Bizarre Individual Siblings readathon, and so I'm not sure what to split up and say I read for what, but anyway, let's go through all this and we will see basically everything that I read for the month of April. So, anyway, see where we can start at. It's just like two big piles of books right here, so let's see, and I'm gonna try and make sure that I get it all right. Like if there's two that I read in a series that are like it's the same book from the or a book from the same series or whatever, that I can put them together, but I don't know if I can do that all the way because I might not be able to see it or something like that. But anyway, we will get into this and go forward. So anyway, one of the first ones that I read was Giant Spider and Me, A Post-Apocalyptic Tale, Volume 3. Now, this was a great read. I thought there would be more to it instead of just 3 volumes, which was a little upsetting that it was only 3. It was a big one that had a lot of expectations that I actually had for it since I started it, and the first book was just amazing. So, second one was amazing, third one was amazing, and it ended, and I was like, why would you do this to me? But it was really good. It's kind of a cooking manga with a post-apocalyptic twist on having a giant spider in your life. It was really good, though. I highly enjoyed it. Then I had Nurse Hitomi's Monster Infirmary 8. This one just kind of goes with the whole series. It was really good. They went on a student camping trip, and a lot of the really big stuff that was really cool is they alluded to like some of like the supernatural like horror entities that you know, we watch you know, Jason from Halloween. I probably got that wrong. I don't know. I just watch them. I don't know all that. But it was really good in that aspect. And kind of rolled in a little more. It didn't focus on Hitomi so much as it focused on the students and stuff more. So it is really good in that aspect. I highly recommend it. I feel like it's one of the ones, even though it does have fan service, as Hitomi has a huge chest, they don't really use it past that. So I feel like this one's a little more grounded in the fact that even though it does have some fan servicey stuff and whatnot, that it doesn't really use it that much. So I highly like that. Then we have Monster Wrestling Interspecies Combat Girls. This one was crazy. I liked it, like I said before, a lot of fan service stuff in some of these. But this one was pretty weird on how they talked about certain things, and the monster girls that they actually picked to fight different stuff. So I think Taku Mike had this one right when he said it's basically Monster Girls, and Ultimate Monster fused together with like, you know, crazy wrestling and whatnot in it. So it was really good. Like I said, I highly recommend that one as well to people that like Monster Girl stuff and people that like some of the other stuff that's out there that relates to it, you know. Then I also read Dragon Ghost House Hunting. This one is really good. I highly recommend this one too. This one's volume 2. It was spectacular. Before, Letty the dragon was only looking for a house for himself. Now he's got like this little baby snow eagle chick thingy, and he's actually having to look for a house for them, not by himself. So that one is really good too. I wasn't expecting it to go that direction, just kind of having more of a, oh hey, this is funny because we're all trying to figure out house arrangements and stuff, but then go a little more into it, and it was just good. It kind of turned into more of a, like a parent manga, I feel like, because he had to take care of this baby bird. Let's see, reach over here and grab like another chunk of books. Then we also got into Magical Girl Site Volume 8. This one was really good too. Kind of upset that these ones come out slower than they should. But it is a great series. Way better than Apocalypse, I think. Even though if you look here on the spine, Apocalypse is kind of on there as it's like ghosted. But Magical Girl Site, I would say, is the more superior one. And it is really good to have all that stuff. We also had Dungeon of Black Company. This one was pretty crazy in the fact that just a lot of stuff happened. I feel like the guy's trying to do stuff to further his career, but now he's kind of taken this stance on kind of taking stuff over, all for the sake of him not working. And I mean, his management skills and business critique and everything, and kind of like tricking people into working for him, is pretty funny. So highly recommend that one too. It's good. How Not to Summon a Demon Lord Volume 3. This one was really good as well. This one was funny because it furthered the story a little more, but still our main guy, the Demon Lord, still Diablo is his name, still doesn't know how to function, and it's really funny. His inner dialogue is like, how should a Demon Lord act? And then it turns around and comes out and he's just vulgar and everything. So I think I really like it in that aspect. You know, and it's a fun read too. I highly recommend that one too if you haven't gotten into that. Let's see, pull some more off of here real quick. So we have Ideal Sponge Your Life. This one's really good. It's basically a guy goes into another world, and he is trying to marry this beautiful girl, and now they're trying to figure out what to do with him in the kingdom, because it's kind of turning into a harem one where everybody kind of wants to be his mistress for a chance at the throne. So it's really good in that aspect, and I really like it. And it just kind of is like, you know, what do you do from that point of being in that situation? So it turns into that he's already married, he's already consummated, and brought over like a tradition from like our world, where he brought over a wedding ring and married her and everything, and now everybody else is talking about him getting concubines and all this other stuff, and it's kind of like, I don't know what to do. So it turns pretty funny in that aspect with it. Another thing, like I said in another video, a lot of the harem ones that I feel like I read, the guys are a lot better. They're Tenchi Muyo stuff. It's not like, hey, I'm doing this for a reason. It's kind of like, for a guy, it would be like them marrying a girl and then her sister and her mom having like a crush on the guy for some reason or whatever. So I feel like that's what a bunch of them are, and it's kind of funny how they do that. Or, you know, a lot of different people having that, you know, and the guy only loving the one person and telling everybody else no. So it is kind of funny. We'll see what volume 2 opens up. Nothing so far on that, but it could. So then we also read Smoking Parade 5. This one is good. They've kind of opened up a new thing for it. They kind of beat the big group of people that was in it. And now they are in this winter place with a lot of the evil creatures running around and stuff, and it's gone really crazy in it. So we're waiting to see where it goes from there. And now they finally found one that's like a colossal thing, and it's got a new name and everything. So hopefully for our people, this one turns out good, but we don't know just yet. It is a really good series. I highly recommend Smoking Parade if you haven't read it yet. Then this one I have to super highly recommend because it was excellent. Every time I picked up one of these volumes, it was spectacular. I loved what was happening in it. I loved imagining the whole thing of there being a cat and then having to realize that no, there's also a guy, almost like a Wolf's Rain with this one. This one is Nienke's 1 and 2. It is super good. This is one that I would say automatically is going on my favorite shelf just because of how good it was. And I mean, it was the best. So if you haven't read Nienke's yet, highly recommend it because it is hilarious, especially if you have a cat or a dog or any animal that you really like. And imagine if it had like human characteristics and was actually human, and what would it do? So I mean, it's spectacular. So let's see. I also read this one, Holy Corpse Rising. They went a different direction with one of the new witches this time, and it is a little confusing now how all the shit happens. Not exactly sure how to explain it. This one's kind of like a lot of stuff happens, but it's not like huge stuff that matters for this volume just yet. The next one will probably be what makes this volume shine more. But it was a good one. If you haven't read the series, I highly recommend it too. I find it really good. The one thing that was weird in this one though is they had like a character based off of Harley Quinn, except she had a giant hammer or war hammer kind of thing instead of like a sledgehammer or whatever, and obviously she's kind of more medieval than the regular Harley Quinn that we know about, so that was kind of a little funny thing that they added into it. And let's see, I'm gonna move these over here real quick, and that way we don't have to worry about it being in our way for these other ones to come out. Because I mean, we do have a lot more, and I got to see if some of them, if I have books that go with them that I read or not. Not 100% sure. This one was good. I read most of it. I didn't read the rest of it because I was trying to go off of read up to what I had seen in the anime previously, and so I tried to just focus on that stuff, and hopefully they'll have another one come out so I can read the rest of this, because I wanted to do kind of a cross comparison for it. But I read Knights of Sidonia. This one is really good too. Highly recommend it. If you've read some of the other ones from Nihei, some of them seem a little weird. They don't have a story until you get the ball rolling for it. Then you start understanding a little more what the story is. With Knights of Sidonia and Opossums and some of the other ones, it actually has a story laid out from the very beginning, which I think is where Nihei shines a lot more than Blam and the other one, whatever it's called, just because it is spectacular seeing what his works are and having a story behind it instead of a lot of the, hey, this is what's just going on. So I would say this one's more like a battle manga kind of thing when it gets down to that stuff. For, here's some blank pages with no words, but it's a fight going on. It uses the element of still telling the story, but having that fight without words sometimes. Unlike Blam and the other one, or some of the other ones, where sometimes you'll read like a whole 1 or 2 chapters and there will be no words at all to explain the story. So, and sometimes a lot of that is just like it's out there. You don't exactly understand what's going on or whatever. But yeah, so I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And like I said, it was a pretty good series to read. See what else I have in here. I read Attack on Titan, Volume 27. This was a really good read for Attack on Titan, especially with everything that's going on. Now there's a controversial thing of, hey, is somebody controlling somebody else? Or what's the plan for the future with everybody that lives, basically? I would say the people that live behind the walls. So it is super good. It's blooming a lot more now that it's got its ball rolling than what it did before. So I am having a lot of fun reading Attack on Titan again. So hopefully we'll get into it. Before the fall, I still need to read that new one that came out. I think it's volume 16, which I did not read that one yet. But Before the Fall is usually my favorite one, so we'll have to wait on that. Then we read 7 Deadly Sins 31. 7 Deadly Sins is getting better. I like the direction that it's going in as well. Especially now that they're using some of their other characters a lot more. In this one, they used King Arthur and went back and used that in Excalibur. And it was spectacular. Basically, Excalibur was still given by the Lady of the Lake, but it went to another person. They were like the ultimate like war king, and it got passed down. Well, he offered the sword his blood, and multiple people did that. Well, now it came to Arthur, and the blood from all the previous people already have like a Matrix fighting simulator code. So when you're touching the sword, you automatically know all these different sword moves and stuff that all the past like masters and stuff had. So that is something that's spectacular. I like that they reuse that, and just all the stuff that's going on right now. So hopefully the next one will be a lot better. Besides the Arthur thing, this one didn't seem like it had that much meat to it, but we are getting set up for the end of it. So, hopefully soon it'll be spectacular. We also read this one. I don't 100% know who this person is on this page. I don't remember who that is. I don't think they were actually in this one. Quick look. Maybe they were. Kind of. I think it's their first appearance, so we didn't get too far into it. But this one, if you haven't read To Your Eternity yet, this one is excellent. I highly recommend you read To Your Eternity. There is so much stuff that goes on in it, especially like thinking like, oh, I am something that can take on the form of multiple things. When a friend dies, I can take on their form and everything, and how it affects the character doing that. I mean, it is a spectacular book. I highly recommend it. Hopefully it'll stay around for a while, but I do feel like it's getting ready for its end game to happen as well. So hopefully not, though. I would be sad if we didn't at least have like another 6 volumes of it, ending like book 15 or 16. So hopefully not soon. Throw these ones over there real quick for a little extra room. Then we also have Black Clover. Black Clover, this one is good. Super underrated. I would say Black Clover is one of the ones that I actually feel like is just as good as Naruto, One Piece, Bleach. And I would actually say has taken the mantle of one of those with certain groups of people. A lot of people feel like it didn't hold up for itself, but as long as I've read it and as deep as I've read into it, I mean, it is a super good series. I highly recommend people get in and read it. And let's see, they were just doing a wizard tournament. Yeah, so I had 14 and 15. But I mean, it's spectacular. I love the series. This is one of the series, every time I get it, I have to read it right away because there's so much information in it, and the main character and everything. I mean, it's spectacular. So if you haven't read it, jump on it. I mean, it's spectacular. So this one, How to Treat Magical Beast, is a really good one too. I highly enjoy this. It's a veterinarian. Basically, his pupil knows how to use magic from her family. It's not really that much. It's more of her being like an herbalist and all this other stuff, knowing what plants and stuff are supposed to be magical and how to like pray for a magical creature and stuff and fix it up. And I mean, it teaches you like so much. About just regular animals, veterinarian stuff, food, medical herbs, a lot of different stuff. And I find this one highly enjoyable, especially since I like mythical creatures and stuff like that, So it is super good. I highly recommend that one as well. This is the 3rd one, so hopefully, like with this one, we'll have a lot more that comes out. Let's see. Also read One Punch Man Volume 16. So like this one had a lot of big fight scenes in it, which I love in One Punch Man, but it was kind of one of the ones where this was the big thing, and now it's kind of going down because you have to figure out what all this stuff is, which is kind of a pain in the butt. But I mean, it does make the story progress faster, and it is fun to read. So that one comes highly recommended too if you haven't gotten into it. Then we have Black Torch. This one is good. It's supposed to end next volume, and you can tell that this one has sped up a little bit, but it will end hopefully on a good note with the next one. Everything they've done so far makes sense and does flow pretty well, and it is a pretty good series to enjoy that way as well. So hopefully you guys will finish reading that one. I know a lot of people are. We also got Fire Punch. That took a little weird turn because now the guy's not really Agni anymore. He's somebody else, kind of like reborn, and now he has all this other stuff, and it's just it's good, but I don't know how to explain it to you in a way that doesn't give anything away or make you, if you read it and you get to this point, just kind of sit back and be like, whoa, I can't believe that just happened. So, like I said, though, it is a really good series as well, too. Goblin Slayer, this one is good. Right now they're in like this big holy town, and they're trying to fight off the goblins, and somebody has been giving goblins like armor and weapons and all this other stuff, and it's crazy because some of the tactics to fight them they've come up with are just insane. So it's what you'd expect of Goblin Slayer, especially with goblins. So it's great. I highly recommend that one too. I'm probably going to highly recommend all of these, just saying. Then, if it's for my daughter, I'd even defeat a demon lord. This one struck some heartstrings as a parent because finally we got to a part in it where it was like somebody, as a parent, it was like somebody that hates your kid. Or somebody that, like if you have a dog and somebody like really hates dogs and complains on it, everything else, and like every time, you know, somebody complains on your animal or whatever and calls animal control or the police or whatever, it's kind of like that, you know, like you're kind of, why does that happen? You know, why wouldn't you just ask me or say something to me, or why would you attack my child over this? You know, you could talk to me. It did it because it was like a different race thing, which obviously we've seen videos on people acting crazy because somebody has a different race, but this one was a child, and as it being from the parents' point of view, was kind of devastating to see somebody not like the main character's kid, especially thinking of it like if somebody doesn't like your kid or your spouse or whoever for no good reason. So kind of one of those things that ticks in your mind, even though you're kind of like, I don't know why, but it does. So then we got this one. Ooh, this one is great. Otherworldly Izakaya Nobu. Love that one. There's nothing more I can say about that. It is a food manga that tells you Japanese and German and all this other stuff. It is by far one of the best spectacular cooking mangas I can recommend to anybody. And just different stuff that goes on with it. I mean, it is way too spectacular for it to be around yet. I'm just saying, I know a lot of people are still writing some of the other ones, but this one is just that good. I'm glad that Udon is printing it because Udon is basically my favorite person that prints manga and whatnot, and this one and some of their other ones that I've read are just spectacular. So if you want something good to read, I highly recommend you read it from Udon Entertainment. Still read everything else, but Udon is really good because I feel like just like their symbol and everything is a little bowl and udon is a noodle, I feel like a lot of their manga actually like feeds your soul. So I mean, it's super good. So take some more of these down so we can look at them. So also got this one, Hakumi and Mikoji. This is 4 and 5. Love the colors on these. They're always great colors. I like how you can notice it from across the room, just how it is with the purple and the orange and some of the other colors that they have that they use. This one is great. Like I said in the other one, there are the other manga. I forgot which one it was already because, you know, I threw some of them in the chair over there. This one talks about tapestry, food, liquor, building stuff, stonework, masonry work, all this stuff. And it is just a fantastic series about like 2 little sprites animals and everything else. There's not any humans in the world, and it is just, it's great. It's one of the other few mangas that I try and read as it comes out all the time, because the story is so good. And even though they split it up and it's not as long as, not every chapter is as long as you think it would be, but reading it, just, there's so much stuff that goes in every chapter that it feels like you're reading almost a whole book every time you read the chapter. So it's great. Let's see. We also read Made in Abyss, Volume 5. This one was really good. They're still continuing on their journey. Some crazy stuff happens that I don't want to ruin for you, because that was basically the whole book. But it does have stuff in this one that I would say is going to piss you off when you read it. So, this one, the emotion that it brings, it's kind of like, oh, this is happening, and when you actually get to read this one, it just, I think I got like super pissed by it, and I got done, I was like, I need something more enjoyable to read. I can't read something else that's going to be like that just now. So it is a really good one. If you haven't gotten into it yet either, like I said, it is spectacular. Then we also have Seraph of the Inn 16. This one, they finally saved like two of the big vampire people, or one of the big vampire people, and they're trying to figure out more of what to do to save the rest and kind of all this other stuff. It's a pretty good series, but I don't think it comes out fast enough like it should to keep up with the story as much. Sometimes I have to read the preface to kind of remember a couple details, but it is really good. It's just kind of something that you would prefer to sit down and read all at once instead of broken into pieces. Or if you were, figure out like an arc outline and read the arcs as you're going instead of one book at a time, because gosh, is that annoying. Most books I feel like I can do it with. Some of them just like, I need another book right now. What are you doing, guys? Like, print it out. I need it tomorrow. Then I had this one. This is kind of a twofer. This is Is It Wrong to Pick Up a Girl in a Dungeon 4-panel comic, Days of Goddess. Funny. As you guys know, I'm not like too big into comedy, but it is pretty good. So I feel like I read a lot of comedy stuff for this month. Some reason, no idea. And then this is a second offshot of it, even though they consider it a standalone, but it's called Odd Days of the Goddess. But they're good. Those are ones that I would highly recommend as well, that people get into if you haven't yet. Then we have this one. This is Monster Musume, I Heart Monster Girls, also a 4-panel story for Monster Girl stuff. Like I said, this one is also pretty good. It goes in and gives you 4 panels. It's done by a lot of different artists, which are down here on the back as well. I'll read them off here in a second. And I think this is the last one. So we have Sheiko Mitsuhiro Mimura Akihito Kasai Jushi Totori Seikyu Hamon Hinoshika Nobuyoshi Samurai with a Z, not an S. Shido Mayuru Ehobaka Totori Seikyu again. 221 Kinko Cross, which if you know Kinko Cross is the guy that writes the Monster Girl encyclopedias. So then we have another Totori Seikyu. So he wrote stuff in the first, second, and third one, not in the fourth. And then we have Shiraha Meito. Shira Meito. So there are different people in these ones that were good, that write different Monster Girl stuff and other different manga and stuff. I didn't look any of those up. I probably should have before I did this, so I knew what else they did. Some of them I knew who they were, some of them I didn't. Some of them I think might do stuff for hentai, maybe. I think that's what somebody might have told me on some of them. And one of them does Nurse Satome and some of the other stuff. So it is really cool seeing them do different art, especially for a Monster Musume series, and having it as 4-panel joke stuff. So they do, I would say, pass with flying colors on some of that stuff. Then we also had Eden's Zero Volume 2. Great series. I like it. I'm enjoying it. The futuristic stuff is what kind of kills me on it. So hopefully getting more into it, I will be able to enjoy it. But as far as it goes right now, I know some of my other friends will argue that there's other ones that are better than this one. And I don't know if it's just because I'm at Volume 2 or whatnot. But for me, Fairy Tail is still better than Eden Zero. So hopefully soon, at some point when the next couple volumes come out, I'll be able to argue and say that they're on equal footing, and maybe eventually Eden Zero will overthrow Fairy Tail. But right now, there's not really anything. So, let's see. Then we also read Platinum Inn. Great series. Highly recommend it. There's a lot of friends that I want to read that because I know they have stuff that they don't like with like Death Note, but I feel like Platinum Inn is everything Death Note isn't, especially when you really comb through Death Note and you know different stuff that's in it. Platinum Inn is just, it's just so much more, even though it does have a little raunch mixed in. Then we also read Rising of the Shield Hero Volume 10. This one was great. We're continuing forward. The only bad thing in this one is the guy that we wanted to be our Shield Hero's friend, and you guys know if you're reading it what I'm talking about. The person we wanted to be his friend, the couple, the guy and the girl, have basically stabbed him in the back, and it is very upsetting. I love this series. That was one of the biggest slap in the faces for the series that I hated. Hopefully they use these as a great villain turning point for both those characters, because that is right now what it is. I have so much hate for those two characters. After having so much love, it went from everything here to being flipped on its head, and it is so upsetting. Let's see. We also read That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, Volume 9. This one is good. The kingdoms are coming together more on it. So we still have to wait to see what else happens with it. It is a spectacular series. If you have not picked up That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, Remonster, or So I'm a Spider, So What?, then you're missing out on 3 of the best reincarnation stories. I would have to say there's other ones out there. I don't feel like any of them are as good. Right now, I would say there's definitely a line for some of them. Soma Spider totally goes with the whole inner monologue. This one goes with the expanding a civilization with multiple creatures and whatnot. And that's the 2 different roads. And in Remonster, they converge, and it's spectacular. I love all 3 of these series. If you haven't read any of them, you need to get into them, because they are definitely spectacular. Remonster comes out like once a year. I'm a Spider, So What comes out once like every 4 feel like it's less than that. Maybe it comes out 2 or 3 times a year, so not very many. And then Remonster is already on 9, so it comes out more often. But it is great. Then we got this one, A Promised Neverland 7, 8, and 9. Really good stuff. I love now they're fighting back against the people. We don't 100% know what's going on. Now there's extra people that are working against them. You found out the place that they escaped from is where they needed to go back to. A lot of crazy stuff. And I'm trying not to give away too many spoilers for it, but it is so good. So hopefully we'll know more on the journey as we go from here. Then we also have Overlord 8 and 9. This one is kind of a weird series. Different stuff happens in it. I like it, but I feel like you have to really focus on what's going on. And you're kind of taking multiple characters and knowing what their missions are, like in an RPG or an MMO RPG or whatever. Or like WoW, if you have a party, it's kind of like figuring out everybody in your guild taking a quest and figuring out what it is, and them having to spread it out a little bit. So it is really weird in that aspect, but it's still a pretty good read. Again, it's just one that you kind of have to really like hunker down and focus on when you're doing it. You know, and this is one that I feel like if you read every volume individually, you have to make sure where your arcs are at, or the mission kind of things. And it's like you'll read like this whole volume, half of the next one, or 2 volumes, or this 1 volume or something, and then you understand it a lot better if you break it up like that, because it doesn't just focus on like one character. You know, besides like Ainz Al Ghul, the main guy, it's all his kind of minion people that are doing different stuff. Let's see. Then we read Yuna and the Haunted Hot Springs. Great series. Great series. Love it. Highly recommend it. Now we have, he already was kind of in the middle of a harem. Now you have characters that are coming out of the woodwork that were already there wanting to better themselves to be better for the main character, to be his bride, so to speak, or be his main squeeze. So that one I feel like is really good. And now our main character is kind of going through the turmoil of, I'm a ghost, what do I do? If I want to be with him, what do I do? Let's see. I thought I read more than just this one, but just number 10 of Cage of Eden. Again, this one was a good read on volume 10. I can't remember why I didn't read volume 11, but there's 10 more for me to read on that. So hopefully this month we can sink our teeth into it and finish it. Then we have Lord Marksman and Vanitas 9 and 10. Great series too. A little weird. I feel like it's really heavy-winded on talking about some of the stuff. But the idea is great. Volume 10, you find out, is the last volume. And they kind of jump around and tell little bits and pieces in like one scene. Little side bits. And so you kind of get to know a little bit. And the afterwards is really good because the guy says, hopefully when they get farther in the light novel is when we'll go back and actually get a second part to this story. Hopefully that happens because it is a really good series. And so far from the little panels on the end, this is just the tip of the iceberg. What's coming next is the best ongoing parts of the story. So hopefully soon. Then we also read Orihime Koroneko. Really great, good series to go with it. I love this one, especially because my brother loves it. It's one that me and him kind of connect on, even though it's kind of weird because he's read and seen everything before I have, and now I'm reading it, and I kind of put the series down for a while, and now I'm picking it back up, and it's kind of like, okay, I know some of the stuff. My references that my brother says and different stuff like that. So it's really weird. And then for our last one, great stuff that's going on. Home stretch here. Hopefully, I mean, I hope we still have like 20 volumes left for this. But One Piece 89 and 90, really great series. Obviously, highly recommended. Hopefully, we will have this one go on for a little while longer. Like I said, 10 more or 20 more volumes would be great. Hopefully, we get that. Maybe not, but maybe so. So it is really good. So, and of course, you guys know if you've heard of One Piece or not. So, doing this though was really fun. Trying to, I guess, overcome the sibling challenge by reading a lot of manga, and the 30 for 30 or 30 and 30. Trying to do that, and you know, really because of the month before doing so bad for multiple reasons, and now getting to sink my teeth back into the manga that I love, and back into all these great stories and whatnot, and continue forward and be able to talk about them with all of you, you know, it's just spectacular. Altogether, I've read 60 volumes of manga for the month of April, and you know, obviously it's a ton. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching this long video and about the different series and whatnot, and just everything about it. So like I said, it is really good. Go subscribe to my buds Bizarre Individual did the sibling challenge, and Loha Lee, who did the 30 for 30, and you know, stay tuned for future videos and everything else, and just everything that's coming out. There is a lot of good stuff. So anyway, hopefully you will stay tuned, and I will catch you guys later. Anyway, I'm Jen Graves. I will see all you awesome people later. Thanks for watching this long ass video, and yeah, thanks for being here. Hope you guys liked this angle. It's a little different than it was before, but I kind of liked having all my friends stuff that they've sent me back behind me, and that's kind of what it was, even though I was kind of leaned over in front of it the whole time. And you guys got it like a different angle of the room. So anyway, like I said, thanks for watching. I'm Jen Graves. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.